And as Kenyans await the nomination of the second batch to the country's cabinet, leaders across the political, religious and civil society groupings want the president not to rush in nominating individuals to cabinet.
A section of the religious leaders are warning of the partial naming of cabinet could trigger further protests, urging the president to shelve this agenda pending national dialogue.
This comes as Kenyans abroad held protests outside the International Monetary Fund IMF offices in Washington, D.C. over the weekend, calling for reforms of the institution.
The formation of a broad-based government that saw President William Ruto name the first batch of his cabinet continues to elicit an array of reactions among Kenyans. On Sunday, opposition leaders called for a pause in setting up of a broad-based government, urging the government to first ensure justice for victims of police brutality.
One of the problems that the young people have with us as political class is that we are opportunistic. They are the ones who set the agenda. They are the ones who got the cabinet to go. They are the ones who made the finance bill go. But we are the first to look for jobs. That cannot work.
I take time. Asikimbie. I take time. Asikimbie wananchi na achague wale watu wananchi wanataka.
These as religious leaders join in the calls for youth to call off protests and allow government to implement changes.
Let us not forget that if the country disintegrates, the yoke on ordinary Kenyans will be heavy and life will be harder than ever before. Time has come to engage more strategically and refrain from brute force that can erode the well-intended, peaceful protests.
And pressure continued to pile on IMF over its policies as a section of Kenyans abroad camped outside their offices in Washington, D.C., calling for reforms at the institution.
We are tired of your manipulation and that you should leave Kenya now. For many years we have asked the IMF to stop loaning Kenya money.
And Discipline Services Chaplain Father Peter Kimani, who was in Homa Bay County, urged the police to uphold law and order, exercise self-restraint, and refrain from exercising force.
Lakini sisi hatutafanya hivyo, hatutachoka kusaidia kwa sababu tulijitolea. Kwa hivyo ni lazima tulinde hii nchi yetu. Vyovyote vile, si kwa kutumia nguvu, lakini lazima watu wafanye nini? Wakae chini waongee.
This comes as the civil society groups under the umbrella of Jumuiya ya Mashariki ya Pwani having given a 14-day ultimatum for the Director of Public Prosecution to arrest police officers engaged in extrajudicial killings, failure to which they will initiate private prosecution against the individual officers.
Kila kukicha viongozi wanatuambia dialogue, muzungumze. Ili hali maiti bado ziko katika hifadhi za maiti. Hata hawajazikwa, lakini viongozi wa kidini hawazungumzii kamwe kwamba polisi walioua washikwe.
If you don't do that, we are going to institute private prosecutions ourselves because we know the perpetrators.
These as a section of Kitui leaders lobbied to have Penina Malonza reinstated as a cabinet secretary.
Vile umerudisha hao wengine akina Kidiki na akina Nduhale. Mama wetu Penina ndiye picha, hata tunamuita mama UDA Kitui County. Tunakuuliza kwa heshima umrudishe, ndio kazi ya serikali Kitui iendelee mbele.
For Sunday Express, I'm Gladys Mongai.